I have finally listened to all 5 books of the A Song of Ice and Fire series, and interestingly enough, it was the final piece for me. Welcome to the Stark Side, where we journey through Marvel, Star Wars, and Westeros. Like and subscribe if that's your thing. Now, my journey through the material, like a lot of people, started with the show. All 8 seasons, with the waiting in between and everything, and as I sit here with no more books to read, I understand the frustration in waiting 15 years from the last book being published to finish that story. With all that said, I've said many times that this is the third of my 3 favorite franchises to watch and talk about. And now that I've finally finished the books, I have some thoughts. I'll be getting to them all slowly. Again, big shout out and salute to Alt-Shift-X, World of Westeros, Quinn the GM, and Deep Geek, Talkin' Thrones, and all the other channels that have kept my interest and demanded me to finally read the books to understand George's world, albeit on Audible. If you like my channel at all, you'll love theirs. Now, the first topic I'd like to talk about on this channel is the divergence of the material from book to show. Famously, HBO and the showrunners decided to continue the story past where the 5th book was written, with notes from George R.R. Martin about where his story would end, with important plot notes along the way, so they both would end the story at the same point. The divergence happened earlier, a little in Season 2, but more in Season 3 and Season 4, as characters that were cut from the show had their storylines given to others that had been cast already. Seasons 5 and 6 of Game of Thrones are where the series truly left the safe harbor of George R.R. Martin's books and started charting its own course. Up until this point, the show had been adapting the published volumes of A Song of Ice and Fire pretty faithfully. But by the time we hit the end of Season 5, the story had caught up to A Dance with Dragons, the most recent book in the series, and with no Winds of Winter in sight, the HBO series had to move forward on its own, using only George R.R. Martin's broad outline for how things might end. Let's start with Jon Snow in the North, because this is the clearest example of how the show initially stayed close to the books, and then immediately ran off on its own. Season 5 ends with Jon Snow's shocking death, just like the books. But Season 6 opens by bringing him back to life, as something fans had long speculated would happen. We're pretty sure Melisandre will play the same role in the books. But the lead up to the Battle of the Bastards and the political chaos in the North is way more intricate in Martin's version. In the novels, Davos is off trying to find Rickon Stark on Skagos, and Stannis is still alive and preparing for the so-called Battle of Ice, and the Boltons' hold on Winterfell is way shakier. Arya Stark's journey is a mixed bag of alignment and divergence. The show does keep her training with the Faceless Men in Braavos. Fans of the books will tell you that Arya's personality is handled very differently on the page. In the preview chapter Mercy from the Winds of Winter, Arya is living under the alias Mercedine, acting in a Bravo C play while secretly killing someone on her list. The show condenses this and skips over a lot of her internal struggle. It's fast-tracking her back to Westeros for her big revenge moment, feeding Walder Frey his sons in a pie. Will that happen in the books? Almost certainly. Will it happen the same way? Probably not. Now, Sansa Stark's story is one of the biggest departures. In the books, Sansa never goes anywhere near Ramsay Bolton. She stays in the Vale, being groomed by Littlefinger to potentially marry Harry the Heir. On the show, though Sansa is married off to Ramsay, taking the place of Jane Poole, a minor character who suffers horrifying abuse in the books, as Arya Stark. This was a controversial decision by the showrunners, who wanted to consolidate characters and bring Sansa back into the Northern storyline earlier. Moving to Cersei Lannister and the Faith Militant, Season 6 famously ends with Cersei blowing up the Sept of Baelor with wildfire, crowning herself queen, and wiping out nearly all her political rivals in one move. In the books, we aren't anywhere near that point yet. Cersei is still imprisoned, awaiting her trial by combat. Plus, in the novels, she has another problem to deal with. Young Griff, also known as Aegon Targaryen, who is already invading Westeros with the Golden Company. A plotline completely cut from the show, and we can't ignore the cut and merged storylines. Entire characters like Lady Stoneheart, the resurrected Catelyn Stark, who leads the Brotherhood without banners, were left out entirely. This decision drastically altered Jaime and Brienne's storylines, which in the books are headed for a deadly showdown with Stoneheart. The show also gutted the Dorne and Ironborn arcs, cutting Arianne Martell, Victarion Greyjoy, Jon Connington completely, while giving some of their story beats to characters who already existed, like Yara and Theon. So, by the end of Season 6, we're watching a very different story from the one George R.R. Martin is still writing. Sure, the endpoints might line up. Jon Snow being alive, Arya crossing off her list, and Cersei on the Iron Throne. But the road to get there in the books is shaping up to be far more complicated. If The Winds of Winter ever drops, we're going to see just how far the show drifted from Martin's original vision. Thanks for listening to my introduction into the world of Ice and Fire, and I hope to see you back when the new shows come out. A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms will be out in January, and House of the Dragon should be out in the summer of 2026. A lot more to talk about soon. And a lot more content already on the channel to catch up on. Like and subscribe for more from the Stark side. See you soon.